Okay, we are back with another installment of our Inspiration to Installation. And today we're going to be talking about everything painting.
And what sort of things will actually stick to Tiya Premium?
Yes. Now, we get this question a lot. We get loads of questions in this as well. We get, what about if I'm doing a public sculpture and there's going to be loads of people climbing on it, kind of like our grandpa dragon that's in the zoo, which I'll pop a picture on the screen. Lots of people climb on him every day. So how often do we have to repaint? Do I have to seal my sculpture? Also, what kinds of paints I can use? You know, how can I get a bronze effect? How can I get a marble effect? How can I get any kind of effect?
Oh, I got a lot of questions. Okay, we'll sort of start from the beginning and we'll kind of work through those questions. We'll just start with what kinds of paint finishes can you put on Tiya Premium? First and foremost, the stuff that I use the most of is exterior grade acrylic house paints. That's my absolute go-to. The reason is you can mix your own colors. I typically buy the 3 primaries: black, white, and burnt sienna. So, and then I buy big amounts of black, big amounts of sienna, and big amounts of white. So that's your go-to. You can mix all the colors. Just whenever you're painting with acrylics, treat them as if they are watercolor paints. So when you've got a sculpture, the first coat of paint, make sure the sculpture is wet before you put this on. And then that very first coat has to be really thin, like a watercolor wash. That will cause that layer of paint to bind, to bite into it, far more aggressive than doing it without that water. So first and foremost, man, exterior grade acrylics.
Okay.
This is what's on Grandpa Dragon.
Okay, great.
Now, another color is inks, pigment-based India inks. Oh my God. These colors are luminescent. They're like day-glow colors. They're fabulous, but they must be sealed.
Okay, yep.
Now, I'm going to step ahead of the game and talk just briefly about sealants. You cannot seal your sculpture till after it has cured 28 days from the last piece of Tiya Premium put on it. You have to. Now, the reason for this is, as Tiya cures and strengthens, there is a water migration that is happening from the inside slowly out to the surface. That is unstoppable. And it does not cease for that 28 days. So if you were to get some Tiya Premium and put some paint on it, that water migration will claw right through and lift that paint right off. Unless that paint is really thinly placed on, which is why you can paint this stuff on literally 5 days after you sculpt, but you cannot seal it till that 28 days.
Okay, great. Good to know.
Hey.
And that's something we do get asked a lot.
Now, one of the best professional tints, and I don't have it here, is concrete stains.
Wait, I have one.
Okay, so that is a concrete stain.
Yeah, they're great.
Concrete stains have metallic salts and hydrochloric acid with them. And what happens is you clean your sculpture, you clean it, you might even possibly etch it to make sure there's absolutely no residue on the surface. Now, this is an industrial application. If you want a floor to last decades indoors being trod upon, concrete stains truly bite into the surface and hang on, but they must have a sealant applied 28 days later. No exceptions. When you're doing a floor that you're going to be walking on, you have to have a sealant. A sculpture, you can probably get away without it. But if you're going to climb on it, you have to have a sealant.
Because I made one for my mum. I made a little panda hair, and I painted it with the concrete stains, and it's really bright, and and it's been in her garden now for 2 years. It hasn't been sealed, and it looks just as fresh as the day it was done.
Yeah, if it's a sculpture and you're not climbing on it, you're fine.
Yeah,
absolutely fine. But if you're doing public art, oh
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah,
yeah.
but colors are intense. It is hydrochloric acid, so you do have to use all the protections required by the manufacturer.
Yeah.
I would rather use inks and a sealant.
I like the color. I love the color, and I'll put on screen of the leaves that you did one year when it was the fall, and you had those beautiful colors with the India inks, and it just looked stunning. So yes, I do definitely want to get myself some of those and try those. With the sealant, would it need to be then UV light protected, or how would that work? Do you know?
Almost all of them are. We're fundamentally a sealant. You can get either water-based or solvent-based driveway sealants.
Yeah.
It Perfect. Just does it. I mean, you can drive a car on one of these for 10 years. You're just not going to get better. Another kind of paint you can use, rattle cans. Man, those graffiti artists are onto something, because these colors do last out of doors. They've been formulated to do that. Check it out. I don't typically like them, but they do give you airbrush-like effects. But I like more precision when I'm painting. I don't have the techniques to get the precision, but these are good paints.
Remember when you were over in the UK and we were doing some classes down in England, and it was Christmas time, and we made a little star, and we got a rose gold rattle can, and that was the first time we'd kind of like tried it on there, and it just looked amazing, and that still looks the same today, and that's literally all I did with it. It's not been outdoors though. I don't know what would happen to it if it was outdoors.
They're exterior grade.
Exactly. Now, would you need to seal that as well, or do you not think?
Do graffiti artists seal their work?
Probably not.
Probably not. So that's a question for a graffiti artist.
Yes. Any graffiti artists, comment below and let us know.
Tell us what you would do. It's not paint I use, also because there's solvents in it. And in my personal studio, I don't want anything remotely toxic. I don't want gassing compounds. And oh my God, do these VOCs.
They stink.
Acetone, lacquer thinner, not in my studio.
Some people like that,
No, take it outdoors.
Okay,
but not here.
Yeah, cool. And then the other one that we do a lot on our masterclass that we were running is oxides, because oxides are just the most pigmented color that you can get, and obviously we do get asked a lot about oxides. Now there is a ratio and a rule, and Kim will talk about that, but we'll also pop it in a link below so that you can go and check out our FAQ for the exact ratios and things. But fire ahead.
Okay, yes, you can use concrete oxides. These things, almost all of them are metal salts. So this is, if it's green, it's iron. If it's red, it's iron. If it's white, it's titanium.
Yeah.
If it's blue, it's copper. But essentially, this is rust. It's already rusted. So it's not going to rust, which means it's not going to chemically change. It's inert. So I can mix this into Tiya Premium as I'm physically adding water and bringing it up to the proper state. Now, here's a couple of rules. Try not to do more than 5% by dry weight of Tiya Premium. 5%. However, if you want a really rich, wild color, you can go up to 8% only on the detail coat, not the scratch coat under it. So you need the scratch coat for strength. That's what gives you stability. When you add, you're going to microscopically drop your strength, but then you've got the scratch coat in there to make up for it, and you get these intense colors. Another technique that we use, that we played with on a prior project, is you can use this stuff like finger paints.
Yes.
Yes.
The secret project that we have been working on for so long that has had so many technical difficulties and so many editing issues, but we will pop a little thing here on screen to show you what Kim's talking about. Fun, like doesn't even begin to start covering it, like so much fun. Yeah.
What that project entails, and I'll just cover it briefly, is you mix up some Tiya Premium, divide up a batch, add green to it. Divide off a batch, put red in it. Divide off a batch, put another color. And you get an array of colored dough, almost like Play-Doh.
Yep.
And when you can literally sculpt it and put the colors onto the surface, and you get an array of colors. The best thing about Oxides is they ain't never gonna change. Because it's so absolutely integral to the material. You want a color that's going to last you centuries? This is it.
Yeah. And there's also a one that you did an experiment, and I remember it was like, oh God, it was probably like a year ago or a year and a half ago. You did the Jade Lady. We called her the Jade Lady because when you first started doing this and you realized that I think the technique's called scagliola. When you put them together and then it cured, it came out looking actually just like a piece of jade, which was really cool, and we got quite excited about it.
It did. Honest to God, it looked like a piece of carved jade.
Yeah.
It had the surface luminosity and the color and the subsurface scatter of it. It was really pretty. So yes, it's a fake marble technique. Scagliola is an Italian term, and it was invented like centuries ago. But typically, scagliola is plaster, and it's only indoors. You can make this technique work outdoors with Tiya Premium, and you can get all these lavish, wonderful effects. And I'm still experimenting with it. I've got a great way of doing it, azurite malachite. That's just fabulous.
Yes, you bought that beautiful cerulean. Is it cerulean blue? You bought the really bright. Oh, it was such a beautiful color.
I love that blue, man. I use it for only the best. In fact, I can show it to you. Hang on. The gold. Man, this gives you a color that is to die for.
Look at that.
It's an absolutely gorgeous, deepest cerulean blue that you can imagine.
Oh,
now,
so beautiful.
That's not cheap. Don't get me wrong. Things like this is $8. This is about $100.
Whoa.
But since scagliola, you're literally doing a detail coat that's about 1/8 of an inch thick.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a lot.
Wasting this material. This thing would cover square meters. Because you're doing only the thin. Don't waste this stuff on the scratch coat, man.
Yeah, I need to actually get some of those. And now, would you need to seal if you did like the scagliola technique? Would you need to seal that, or would that be actually okay without a sealant?
I like to seal the scagliolas. I do like using a nice glossy dry seal on it because my God, the colors pop.
Yeah,
they pop if you use a gloss. Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff out there I don't know. And one of the reasons we're doing this particular video is people will tell me things and I want to learn more.
Yeah, no, and people have been pushing the boundaries with our product for as long as it's been available. You know, in the US, it's only been available for what, 2017? So yeah, not long at all. And people have taken it in really different directions to what we would ever even expect. So yeah, go nuts, people, and tell us about it.
Tell us, hear this stuff.
Yeah, it's fun because it's like, you know, we've had some beautiful. I'm going to read out a comment from someone that we recently helped with sculpture, and it was kind of covered in the last session that we did.
Armatures, right?
Yeah. Okay. So Anita, that was from last week's bear sculpture, who we helped with the thickness at the bottom of the sculpture and told her about the internal ribs and things like that and how to move it with the palette. That's all in the last video, so go check that out if you haven't seen it. We'll put a link up above. She reached out to us and she said, I'm extremely grateful for your outstanding support and assistance using Tiya Premium. Because I know you're not only willing but enthusiastic about offering guidance, I can feel confident to build and create pieces I wouldn't have dared to begin before. In fact, your and Kim's enthusiasm, encouragement and availability create a feeling of community and friendship. Aww. Meeting you at the workshop in Boulder and the kindness you showed there was my introduction to the worldwide network of Tiya makers. Thank you for making my artistic journey a less lonely one. So I read that out because it's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to create a community of like-minded, I mean, as Kim's always said, the artistic journey can often be a very, very lonely one. And what we're hoping is that you can reach out to us at any time and we'll be here, right?
Well, that's my job. I mean, my job, yes, I'm, lead tech, is I have figured a lot of this stuff out. I have been sculpting for 30 years. Yes, these gray hairs, I got them for something, man. And it's my job to make sure other people don't have to make the same mistakes I did. Because, man, I've made quite a lot of them. And I don't do them nearly as much as I used to. My job is to make things effortless for others. And I really take that seriously. I enjoy it. Somebody gives me a curly technical question. It's like, yeah, I just made it my week.
Yeah, exactly. So, we're a small team, but we do try and reach out to everyone that reaches out to us. And if we ever miss anything, it's probably because Facebook hides things from us sometimes. It happens. And we've maybe not seen your question or it's gone into spam. If we don't get back to you, something like that's probably happened, but we try our very best to get back to you. So comment below and let us know your questions. Okay, well, I reckon that's us done for painting. So people, go forth and paint and tell us what you used and show us your pictures and share with us, because the community loves to see it, and we love to see it. So
I want to see it. People are doing things I've never expected. So yeah, show us what you do.
Cool.
Okay.
Bye. Okay.